let's talk about displays. So many freaking displays came out this year, or were announced here at CES 2023. And frankly, I probably don't even have all of them covered here. First and foremost, Asus running with the first announcement that I saw, and the, highest spec pushing one, in that they have a new ROG Swift Pro monitor that does 540 hertz. Now this is a 1080p 24-inch panel. It is a TN panel. It's a new esports TN panel for whatever that's worth, but it's still TN. It's not going to look great. It's purely for esports people at the moment, and it has G-Sync, it has NVIDIA Reflex, all that stuff. And you might be thinking, well, that's dumb. I can't run games at it. I don't play esports. I don't want 1080p. I don't want crappy TN panel. That's fine. But what this is both kind of NVIDIA, they are very much backing this push, as well as the monitor manufacturers, trying to get to the point that monitors basically run at 1000 hertz. I think they see 1000 hertz as kind of the finish line, and that is the point where we can run any arbitrary frame rate and have low response time and latency in the long run. It will evenly divide for PAL content, for NTSC content, for movies, TV shows, 60 FPS, 120 FPS. All of that will be able to go into it. And you'll be able to set any arbitrary refresh rate below that, so that all content can look smooth. You can have VRR that adapts to everything. And 1000 hertz is basically the refresh of the human eye. It's not that simple, but 1000 hertz is where you're getting as realistic to real time physically as possible. And so both NVIDIA and Asus are kind of rushing towards that direction. And while it looks silly in the moment, the goal is not to run games necessarily there. For the esports monitor, yeah, you're trying to run CSGO at 600 FPS or Siege or whatever and hit that. It's fine. In the short term, this is dumb. Most people aren't going to buy this. Most people shouldn't buy this. And frankly, LCD is dead. LCD is a dead technology now, and LCD is a terrible technology for high refresh rate stuff, other than this experimental testing ground. Because once you get past 240 hertz, most people, even the best of the best, stop being able to truly see a difference in refresh rates. But you're not supposed to see a difference. The point is actually to allow you to have better response times and motion clarity and lower input latency. You can have improved gaming performance, like your actual skills, due to higher refresh rates, even though you can't see the difference. Like, it still has an impact, even if you can't see it. The problem is, LCDs can't deliver that kind of motion clarity and that kind of response time. It just can't. This has been shown over and over, including in my videos. OLED gets way closer. CRTs are way better for it, but those are dead as well. But LCDs just can't do it. But what this is these companies really pushing to get the controllers, to get the rest of the pipeline down and targeted at esports people now, so that when they can bring it to OLEDs, and whatever modern technology will fit that, it's good to go. And so I don't expect to hype anyone up for a TN monitor that runs at refresh rates that you can't really game at, because you don't care. But the progress being made here and the implications this will have in 5 or so years is awesome. And I am super stoked, especially because we're already getting higher refresh rate OLEDs, which we will get to. I can actually pull up that one next since it's Asus. Anyway, Asus actually has a 240 hertz OLED now. 1440p, 27 inches, 240 hertz. This is what I want. This is going to take, if I can ever get my hands on it, the Alienware ultra-wide QD OLED off my desk. Because I want OLED with high refresh rates, but I also want 16:9. Samsung announced a bunch of new crazy OLED monitors, but they're all ultra-wides, because what they're doing is they're taking TV panels and chopping them into halves or thirds and selling them as super expensive gaming monitors, which is saving them on R&D and also giving them tons of ROI, because now they're selling, instead of one display, 2 or 3 displays and selling them for more. So I hate that practice, but I love that we're finally getting high refresh rate 16:9 OLEDs. And this is the future. This is where things are going. The displays look infinitely better. The response times are crazy. Both LG and Asus have 240 hertz OLEDs announced, and they both cite 0.03 millisecond response times. And I believe that. This is the first time where I believe that a manufactured spec input lag or response time is going to be accurate, because OLED is already so close at lower refresh rates. And this is what I was talking about of the difference of LCD, is like my 120 hertz OLED has lower input latency than a 240 hertz LCD. and even then a 360 hertz in most cases. So that lower refresh rate doesn't matter because the actual input lag is better. Double that to 240 hertz, and I would imagine the input latency is gonna be what they say it is. Like, it may not be exactly that, but it'll be damn close. Like, it'll be one of the lowest input latency experiences you could possibly get. 0.03 may be a little too unrealistic, because that's basically what a CRT is, but it's gonna be 1 millisecond or less. And actually 1 millisecond or less. Not this 1 millisecond gray to gray response time, but the actual response time is like 5 or 10, which is what most LCDs are. This is gonna be actual. I'm freaking stoked, y'all. I literally just redid my desk in the house with a dual monitor arm to get the Alienware ultra wide and then my 240 hertz Samsung, which I don't want anymore. It's crap, but you know, as my second monitor up above it. And now I feel like I'm gonna have to redo it because I want to do everything I can to get this Asus in my hands, because this is it. This is where monitors are going. Just don't buy an LCD. Like, unless you need to buy a monitor right now and you need to buy it for $100 or $200, just wait. Wait till the OLEDs come down, because you can already get some of the good OLED TVs or displays, like the Gigabyte Aorus FO28U or whatever that Will, my community manager, talked about in our favorite tech video and on a couple jam packs in the past. That has gone on sale repeatedly for $700 and $800, which is reasonable for a high-end monitor or display. So we're getting there. This is freaking amazing. So that was Asus's display. Dell went in a different direction. Dell decided to stick with LCD to compete with Apple's Pro displays and release a 6K monitor that's actually higher than 6K. It's like a few hundred pixels higher than 6K at 6144 by 3456 resolution. But it's still an LCD. It's a 32-inch monitor. It's using IPS black, which is supposed to have higher contrast, but it's going to have crap HDR performance due to the blooming because of dimming zones and all of that. It's still not going to have the same, you know, same contrast as IPS. The typical peak brightness is 450 nits, and HDR gets to 600 nits. That's not a great HDR experience. I don't see the point in this other than the flex. Like, 6K resolution honestly doesn't help anyone. Like, it's not, there's no use case that benefits from it. Like, sure, if I had one landed on my doorstep, I would, well, I don't have room for a 32-inch secondary monitor at the moment, but if I did, I would use it as my secondary monitor, crank up the DPI scaling in Windows to like 200 or 300%, and use that for screen captures for tutorials, because it would be freaking beautiful having that much pixel density for screen captures, especially when I zoom in on little details and all of that. But realistically, like, I fail to see a single use case that buying this over Asus's OLED ProArt that I have right here in front of me, or, you know, any other OLED or QD-OLED monitor at 4K would do. Like, I fail to see it. It's not going to be better for color grading. It's not going to be better for pretty much anything else. I don't know. I'd just buy more CRTs. Yeah. Yeah, the 8K Dell monitor is all you need. That thing sucked too. 8K is kind of dead. We got more monitors though, because, oh, that's a gaming laptop. I copied the wrong link. No. So Alienware wasn't going to be beat by Asus, and they actually introduced a 500 hertz monitor as well, which is very exciting. Now this one is still LCD, but it's IPS instead of TN. So Asus's was TN, which is like taking the worst monitor type and then the worst panel of that monitor type. Alienware's is IPS, so it'll at least look nice. It'll have nice colors. It'll have nice, you know, angles or whatever. But it's still a 24-inch 1080p monitor. So if you're an esports gamer, awesome. If you're anyone else, again, this is more about the future that it's going to bring to us than the actual value of gaming at 500 hertz right now. But regardless, I'm exciting. Someone asked the exact model of the monitor that I have. It is the PA32DC, and you want an affiliate link, I can give you that as well. Here it is on Amazon, if my copy paste will work. Asus PA32DC, and here it is on B&H. BH. Oh, I don't have the, hold on, I don't have the, B&H's affiliate program doesn't have a Firefox extension, only a Chrome extension. So I still have to keep Chrome installed to like use a ton of extensions because they don't exist in Firefox for some reason. But it is this monitor. It is super expensive, but it is the ProArt PA32DC. So I even previously covered the PA32UC, and then they've had a bunch of them since. There's like a UCG, UCGX, blah, 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 blah. I didn't like at my apartment setup when I had a shallower desk setup. I didn't like the 32 inches in size because I was actually getting vignetting because I was sitting too close. And this setup, 32 inches is okay. But I still honestly didn't like the blooming and the HDR performance on those. And I was going for HDR. Now, at the time, I ended up going with the Dell UP2718Qs, which were the best HD monitors at the time. They were still LCD, of course. And then I ended up never really doing much with HDR with it because Windows 10 HDR implementation, and older, of course, sucks. Windows 11's is a lot better. And the act of making HDR content is still a mess. The OLED, however, makes this a lot better, and it's been a great monitor so far. So I haven't reviewed it yet, but like, it's beautiful. The only complaint I have is it has a lot of like panel preservation tech built in, which involves, excuse me, goodness, some degree of auto brightness and things like that. And I don't notice it most of the time, but when I put up a full screen like white image, if I like look off to the side of the monitor, sometimes there's a little bit of a flicker, like almost like a CRT running at 60 hertz. When, you know, if you run it higher, you don't see the flicker. At 60 hertz, you do. If I have a full white thing on it, there's a little bit of a flicker that just bugs me, but it's to preserve the panel. Like, it's a good thing. I don't want it to go away. It's not a real complaint. It's just the only weird thing that I've noticed because my other OLEDs don't really do that. But I also don't use my other OLEDs as a monitor, so maybe it would. I don't know. I know Barnacle had a ton of issues with the auto brightness stuff on the C1s, so I don't know. I want an Odyssey Arc, but with DisplayPort and proper multiple inputs. Yeah, that would be nice.